How is everyone? Are you okay?
Doing well.
Doing good.
Anyone have any pressing questions? Anything that has come alive?
I don't have a question, but I would like to say thank you to everyone for participating in this group every week or on the weeks you're here. Um, just really nice to see everyone and hear from Eshin. And the group wouldn't exist without every one of you.
True that.
Agreed. This has been a really important thing to me. It's great to see you guys, and grateful to Eshin for putting this together because, dealt with a heinous amount of anxiety and weird shit in my life lately, and this is one of the things that's keeping me grounded and not losing my shit.
Well phrased.
Very well phrased.
You're here.
On that note, there's a kind of a direction that I'd like to entertain. And one of the things that, two aspects of one of the many things that Zen can offer our daily lives is one, a way of discovering how resilient we actually are is one, and two is to put it very frankly and practically, how to be with people we absolutely hate. It's actually really good for you, and I'm going to encourage everyone this way. It's really good for you to spend time with people that you detest, and the reason is partly for you and also partly for them and for everyone else too. I think we all have friends who have wildly contrasting, political ideologies. That's one way to put it. I had a good friend in college who was blisteringly conservative, a brilliant, reasonable thinker, and a really clever person, and generally very compassionate and generous. All the wonderful qualities of being a fine person, and yet his political bent was strangely bent. Just, why do you the way you behave is so different than your political leanings? And that was a challenge to a lot of people around. But I enjoyed it because I liked the contrast, simply. And now, as a Zen monk coming out of the rigors of monastic training, where in the monastery every kind of person is represented. There are fun, easy people that are nice to be around all the time, and then there are absolutely horrible people that you want to do things that you can't say out loud to. Mostly it involves hands and necks, but those people become our greatest teachers. And to describe it in a simple way, we have, if stones rolling off a mountain get in a river, they bump into each other a lot, right? And they chip away little by little, very gently, little by little. They wear away at each other. And by the time they reach the ocean, they've become smooth and beautiful. And they've become better at being together because they don't chip each other off. They don't chip it at each other as much because all of the sharp edges are worn away. So we too can become polished by being with people that are very difficult to be with. There's a little line in an essay by Master Dogen, which, if I marked it right, yes, I did. I'd like to read to you. This particular essay is called "The Bodhisattvas: 4 Methods of Guidance." And so there are as all of Master Dogen is quite dense. I'm going to read the first three kind of lightly, and then I'll read the fourth. The fourth one is the linchpin for today. So, giving means non-greed. Non-greed means not to covet. Not to covet means not to curry favor. Even if you govern 4 continents, you should always convey the authentic path with non-greed. It is like giving away unneeded belongings to someone you don't know, offering flowers blooming on a distant mountain to the Buddha, or again, offering treasures you had in your former life to all sentient beings. Whether it is of teaching or of material, each gift has its value and is worth giving. Even if the gift is not your own, there is no reason to abstain from giving. The question is not whether the gift is valuable, but whether there is genuine merit. That's 1. Giving. 2. Beneficial action. Beneficial action is skillfully to benefit all classes of sentient beings. That is, to care about their distant and near future and to help them by using skillful means. In ancient times, someone helped a caged tortoise. Another took care of a sick sparrow. They did not expect a reward. They were moved to do so only for the sake of beneficial action. Foolish people think that if they help others first, their own benefit will be lost. But this is not so. Beneficial action is an act of oneness, benefiting self and others together. To greet, I'm not going to read that part. That's enough of that one. 1, 2. Oh, did I skip the second one? 1, 2. Oh, kind speech. Number 3, kind speech means that when you see sentient beings, you arouse the heart of compassion and offer words of loving care. It is contrary to cruel or violent speech. In the secular world, there is a custom of asking after someone's health. In the Buddha way, we would say, how are you? How are you doing? Right? In the Buddha way, there's a phrase, please treasure yourself. And the respectful address to seniors, may I ask how you are? It is kind speech to speak to sentient beings as you would to a baby. Praise those with virtue, pity those without it. If kind speech is offered, little by little kind speech expands. Thus, even kind speech that is not ordinarily known or seen comes into being. Be willing to practice it for this entire present life. Don't give up, world after world, life after life. Kind speech is the basis for reconciling rulers and subduing enemies. Those who hear kind speech from you have a delighted expression and a joyful mind. Those who hear of your kind speech will be deeply touched. They will always remember it. Know that kind speech arises from kind heart, and kind heart from the seed of compassionate heart. Ponder the fact that kind speech is not just praising the merit of others. It has the power to turn the destiny of nations. That sounds so politically contemporary, doesn't it? Please remember, this was written just under 800 years ago. The point still stands. The bullshit they dealt with then is the same bullshit we live with now. Nothing's new. There's nothing new. I like that one. I hope you like it too. The last one. This is the most important one, at least to me. Is identity action. It means non-difference. It is non-difference from self, non-difference from others. For example, in the human world, the Buddha took the form of a human being. From this, we know that he did the same in other realms. When we know identity action, self and others are one. Lute, song, and wine are one with human beings, devas and spirit beings. Human beings are one with lute, song, and wine. Lute, song, and wine are one with lute, song, and wine. Human beings are one with human beings. Devas are one with devas. Spirit beings are one with spirit beings. To understand this is to understand identity action. Does anyone understand this? It's very, very mysterious. My advice when encountering these kinds of words is don't think too hard, just let it roll over you. Whatever sticks is what you need to hear at a given moment, and the meaning will appear to you if you just sort of just like let it hang there. That's a weird thing about Master Dogen's writing. Action means right form, dignity, correct manner. This means that you cause yourself to be in identity with others after causing others to be in identity with you. However, the relationship of self and others varies limitlessly according to circumstances. Guanji, who is an ancestor who a few generations before Master Dogen, Master Dogen really, really likes, he said, "The ocean does not exclude water. That is why it is large. The mountain does not exclude soil. That is why it is high. A wise lord does not exclude people. That is why he has many subjects." That the ocean does not exclude water is identity action. Water does not exclude the ocean either. This being so, water comes together to form the ocean. Soil piles up to become mountains. My understanding is that because the ocean itself does not exclude the ocean, it is the ocean and it is large. Because mountains do not exclude mountains, they are mountains and they are high. Because a wise lord does not weary of people, his people assemble. People means the nation. A wise lord means ruler of the nation. A ruler is not supposed to weary of people. Not wary of people does not mean to give no reward or punishment. Although a ruler gives reward and punishment, he does not weary of people. In ancient times, I always find it very funny to be reading text that was written 800 years ago, and the guy says, in ancient times. To when are you referring, sir? In ancient times, when people were less complicated, there was neither legal reward nor punishment in the country. The concept of reward and punishment was different. Even at present, there should be some people who seek the way without expecting a reward. This is beyond the understanding of ignorant people. Because a wise lord understands this, he does not weary of people. People form a nation and seek a wise lord, but as they do not completely know the reason why a wise lord is wise, they only hope to be supported by the wise lord. They do not notice that they are the ones who support the wise lord. In this way, the principle of identity action is applied both to a wise lord and to all people. This being so, identity action is a vow of bodhisattvas. With a gentle expression, practice identity action for all people. Each of these four methods of guidance includes all four. Thus, there are 16 methods of guiding sentient beings. Yeah, this was written in 1243, so just under 800 years ago, when Dogen was 43 years old. So non-difference from self, non-difference from others. Why is this identity action so important? The Buddha appeared in our kind of lived human history as a human being. Well, okay, that's Siddhartha Gautama. He was a guy, he did some meditation in the forest. People were really impacted by it, touched by what he said. And so those ideas have been left and transmitted over like 94, 92, 94 generations or so of human beings studying it deeply in all kinds of directions. And so, yeah, we have Buddhism as a result of this. We know that there was we assume that there was someone who is sort of the source point of this. But we also know that the Buddha is not a person. It's not just one thing. If you meet the Buddha and you think that that's the Buddha, you're now missing all of the opportunity to encounter wisdom and compassion in all the other parts of your life. So with that, when you meet the Buddha, kill the Buddha. What you're killing is not a person. What you're killing is your idea, your concretized idea of, oh, this is what a Buddha is, or this is what a Buddha should be. Kill that, because you can't predict where the Buddha is going to appear.
Does that kind of tie into the whole perfection of wisdom thing of, once you feel like you've reached enlightenment, you've then lost enlightenment?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very connected. Very much. It's difficult to say that they're different things. And when we practice identity action, we cause ourselves to be in identity with another person. And in this case, I'd like to really aim this idea at someone that you hate, someone that you find very challenging to be around. And then what happens when you cause yourself, because you can only control what, for lack of other better terms, the self. You can only really, the best control you have is of you. Cause yourself to be in identity with that other person. That other person then becomes caused to be in identity with you. And then you handle that with care. Instead of drawing boundaries, draw identity. Can anyone think of someone you absolutely detest? You don't have to name names, but not someone that's like, famous in sort of the political sphere, because that's too easy. But someone that you detest, and can you think of times when you spent time with that person that it didn't suck?
Yeah, definitely true. I have a lot of extended family that might fit that bill.
Now, how do you feel when, can you think of times when it didn't suck?
Yeah, I mean, most of my life and growing up before a lot of, in a lot of ways, it's political divide stuff, but
Yeah.
moral differences.
Facing those interactions with people, even now, when the divides are really strong and they seem to be new and fresh and challenging, I will keep saying this. It's not new. This isn't original to our lifetimes. This is old stuff. Humans have been doing this for eons. We have always had the same problems. It's just wearing different clothes. We have technology, it makes some certain connectivity a little easier, saturating ourselves with information that we don't really need, and being able to share opinions that in some cases aren't all that well founded, and then being able to argue with people from the privacy of our own home, from a place where we actually feel like we're not being seen. So yeah, it creates a lot of bad energy in people's heads, in your heads. It's not real. It's just an illusion. It's all just an illusion. Now, returning to the thing, Connor, when you have a good time, what might you be doing differently than the times when it's not so good?
I guess, yeah, the times that was good was when it was just the family hanging out and sharing a holiday together, or being playful as children.
Mm-hmm.
People develop certain, ingrained hatred, I guess you could say, that I disagree with.
And what do you do with you when you meet those qualities with which you disagree?
Well, lately, I guess I try to pull the good out of the bad, or have a chance to, I don't know, maybe try to stop myself from reacting immediately to something that's stated. Or I mean, that's the thing, it's never usually something like really actually in the interactions that's bad. It's then, yeah, like we're connected on a social media level and you see things people post and it's just like, oh my God, I can't. I just like that my colors my perception of you, and it makes me just feel like,
Yeah.
But I saw this I was watching a podcast with this comedian Stavros Halkias is talking about, it's like people would probably be a lot happier and we'd be a lot better off as a human race if people just focused on hanging out with each other. I think he's almost talking about just being present with each other and not worrying about like, oh, we don't need to have like a political debate. We could just like enjoy each other's company of being human. Yeah.
Here you are.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Think about crappy interactions with people that you have a hard time with, and all the times aren't always bad. Can you think about some times when it was good? What was different? What do you do with you?
Sometimes I find myself I can often sort of like see both sides of a thing, of an argument, and sort of like move between the two sides. But then when I encounter someone who thinks in a way that I just completely disagree with, I often find myself later on like almost feeling polluted by them, because they kind of like with the idea of being one, you've allowed their ideas to sort of come into you, and then often I think as a form of kind of like digestion or processing, I find myself sort of rehearsing, like thinking what they think, and sort of like entertaining their argument in a way that's like it is somehow when you allow someone with ideas or things that are like abhorrent to you, or sort of things that you just really hate, you allow them to say those things to you. It's like you have to sort of live that with them and go there with them. And I feel like sometimes kind of like I wish I just hadn't allowed that to enter my being at all. Because here I am sort of like torturing myself by entertaining their ideas. I don't know if anybody else has a similar experience.
A couple key words might be my.
Yeah. So the ideas are kind of inhabiting both of us.
Yeah.
You have to be a host for them. Kind of.
That is a very sticky place to be. And what's left in that digestion is feeding thought. To go back to practicing Zazen, orienting yourselves to stillness and silence. And as a result of creating that orientation in your daily lives, you begin to be able to do without doing, meaning you leave nothing behind. That also means sort of removing the boundary between self and other, and the other person's sort of, how do I want to put that? Neither bad nor good. The other person's sort of strength of thought, whatever that strength is, good or bad, it's not important. Whatever it is, comes into us. We allow it in because we're being open. And then if you hold on to the thoughts and you keep feeding the thoughts, then they live. They take on their own sort of life cycle inside your thought producing organ. But actually, if you encounter those moments from the place of non-doing, that is completely still and silent, then when you walk away, the thing gets put down, and it's just what it is. You cannot, it's not that you forget it. It's not that you don't kind of naturally apply a sort of discriminating opinion, whether, you know, good, bad, or neutral, to that encounter. But rather that was then, this is now, there's no connection there. We're in a new chapter. It's like 5 minutes later. Are you hungry? Let's go get a hot dog. You know, like completely different and empty of whatever thing could have lingered from the previous moment. That's a practice. That's a hard thing to do. It sounds easy. It sounds really simple. But actually applying it asks of you a great discipline. It asks you to notice you really fast. Like at the moment those things start to go into you and you start to feed the thoughts, play with the thoughts, consider what has been said and heard, you have to notice that process is beginning. And then you have to let it be there with an open hand without feeding it. And I mean this good or bad. It doesn't matter if it's a positive thing or a negative thing, whatever it is. The backside of this is if you practice this too hard, then you have a really great conversation with someone, and then like 2 minutes afterwards, you have no idea what you said. And they're like, and you're like, what's your name again? You're like you're like loving this person, but you're so not attached that their name didn't even stick. That's a problem. Don't do that. That's going too far. But on the other side is that running into that your own spaciousness, your own willingness to accept, which is a good quality. Keep that with discipline. In the case that let's say someone starts to say a whole bunch of stuff about what they think. Well, let me back up here. So there's a common element here between what Connor and Nick were saying. What's the source? Everyone try to think of this. What's the source of the problem here? The hint I'm going to give you is it's not the ideas that people present. It's not the opinions that people publish onto the internet or in a social situation that they blurt out. What's the source of the problem?
Our reaction to that.
Yes.
Sense of self.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. More. Think stupider.
Holding a fixed view.
Yeah, that's.
You're just pissed off or upset.
What'd you say it again, Rob?
You're just pissed off or upset. You have a feeling of thought. You're just upset.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anger is a result of the thing, but what I'm looking for.
It's a thought. Like the
yeah,
thought.
but how does the thought travel? I'm looking for the rocket engine here. Come on.
The mind?
Nope. It doesn't.
Delusion.
Well, nope. It's simpler. It's simpler than that. It's simpler than that. Come on, everyone. I know you got this.
Like bodily sensation?
Griselle, think the opposite direction of bodily sensation.
Your brain. So creating thought.
The bodily sensation is coming in. What's the going out? What's the source? Let me just say, if you turn that faucet off, like 99% of these problems would be imperceptible.
Consciousness?
No.
Speaking.
There it is, Nick. Speaking. It's running your bloody lips. That's the problem. That's simply the problem. In the monastery, it is beaten into us to shut up. When it's time to do the thing in front of you, do the thing in front of you quietly. And it's absurd to the extent that you must be quiet. But being quiet doesn't necessarily mean don't speak. Because sometimes you have to say, oh, let me help you. Or if we're cooking together, it's like, oh, this needs more salt. Like, you got to communicate. But what is the speaking that's the problem? That's worth investigating. In the old Buddha teachings, like attributed to the historical Buddha, he has this sort of prescription which says, think of anything you want to say. Consider it 3 times before saying it. If you were to take up that as a practice, one, your response, you would never have a sharp comeback. That would just go out the window, you know. The sharp comeback maybe could happen the second time you think about it, but by the third time, the moment's passed, so it's no longer a sharp comeback. So you're not going to get in a fight as a result of almost anything you say. That's one practical manifestation of this. And then the second thing is if you take that time to think about it 3 times, probably by the time you think about it the third time, the feeling of the need to say the thing has evaporated. If there is still a need by the third time you consider saying something, you're probably going to say it as skillfully as you possibly can at that moment. And that means, well, one, if the first response is going to be charged with emotional content, whether that be passion, love, hate, frustration, any of the emotions, by the time you get to the second time, a lot of that has largely faded away. Kind of like what is it? A sound wave becomes weaker, like square the distance. So if you go the distance between a sound source and the ear, if you go half the distance, it's 4 times as, was it 4 times as loud? If you go twice the distance, it's now like, is that, my math is bad here, but it gets much stronger the closer it is, and it gets much weaker really fast the farther away you go. So in time, in terms of us considering what we're going to say, our emotional, the emotional charge to our thoughts has the same pattern of getting weaker over time. To increase the distance, it more or less exponentially fades away. So by the third time, you may still say, oh, this is a frustrating topic, or this is a frustrating matter, but your body has now just sort of released all of that emotion, or most of it. And so if you're going to say it, you're not saying it out of anger. You're not saying it out of hate. And if you're saying it by the third time you've considered it, you're saying it because it needs to be said. Largely, probably, it didn't, whatever it is, doesn't need to be said, because most things don't need to be said, frankly. If everyone just shut up and hung out, most of these problems probably wouldn't exist. We'd be real cool if, like, those big muscly lunkheads who are put on the masks and hide their license plates and drive around and call themselves ICE. I don't know if they really are. Whatever. Thugs. They look like thugs. They look like guys who like work out a lot and want to fight. Well, actually, they're all probably really sharp and clever about how to maintain their physiology, and they really like being strong. So they're probably kind of interesting if you got in a conversation with them about things like that, things that are interesting to them. And if you could create identity, create yourself, in yourself, identity with people, let's say people doing things that we don't agree with, just going to pick on ice for a moment and say that, hey, you know, you're a son, you're a father, you're a brother, you're a friend. You might even be a painter or a musician. You might be any of those things. You're a perfectly interesting human being. Of course, there's ignorance. I'm ignorant too, but well, let's not talk about that. We don't need that right now. Somebody has just like put some steaks on the grill. Let's eat it together. You know.
Yeah.
And if you know that that person is probably going to say some stuff that could be triggery for you, just know that. And then consider that as practice for you not to respond, not to be moved by whatever's outside. That's, you know, the mouth running, which is the source of most of our problems, nor what's inside, which is our emotional responses to the thing, which is our fixed opinion about whether or not something is right or wrong. Just get rid of that. You don't need that. To put it in very practical terms. But by you, the only person that can control this, that can do this work is you. It's not them. It's not the other person. It's only this. By you emptying out your idea of self or your attachment to yourself, then you cause that other person to be in identity with you. A mysterious and wonderful thing can arise when you don't give someone else a chance to fight you. What happens? If you take away, in Japanese we say aite. That's a more fun word than any one that I can think in English. The other person, your momentary partner. What happens to that person when you take away all of their ability to fight with you? This is a real question. Do some thinking. What does it mean? What happens?
They have no power.
Yeah. You take away their power. What happens when you take away their power? What's the result?
They stopped doing what they were doing.
In a momentary basis, yes, that's one. You can't. I mean, this isn't going to work when they put on the uniform and they take up the armor. That's a much more difficult encounter to sort of to deal with. But
I think they're fighting themselves if you're still. Like, if you share an identity with someone else and you reflect them, then they're fighting themselves, and then they might stop.
I understand where you're coming from, Rob, but I'm gonna say that it's a dangerous idea to think that we are reflecting someone back to them. Usually a person will reflect themselves in you more. We reflect ourselves in others more than we can intentionally reflect back. Like a teacher can do that in a way, like in a private one-on-one conversation when a person is maybe banging their head on a sidewalk, doing the same thing over and over, trying to get different results. We can sort of parrot some of that back at them so they can see it and that they can recognize the absurdity of their own pattern. But in a social context, it doesn't work quite the same. To be very practical about it, there is a practical result of taking away another person's ability to fight with you. And this is, of course, assuming that we're entering that social situation without, like nobody's wearing armor, to be practical, to put it like in that metaphor. So if you show up wearing armor, you're at a protest. You've established yourself on either side of the matter. Then sort of fighting is sort of the only answer in that arrangement. It's a really difficult place to undo the fight when everybody shows up to fight. But if you show up with no fight in a situation where there is no need to fight, and you never give the opposition, what do you create?
Um,
Come on,
it's
Michelle.
like
I know you have this answer. I know you have it.
it's like focusing on what is the same versus what is different. Like
Yeah. What happens? What does that do? What does that create?
it creates rapport. Like
Yeah. Keep going.
yeah.
Simpler. Think simpler.
It just creates connection. Like
And what does connection create?
kindness towards one
No,
another. No?
don't get more complicated. Get simpler.
Understanding.
Yeah, that's also a result of the thing that I'm trying to get to come out of all of your mouths.
See,
What was that, Nick?
identity, like
Well, yeah, we're creating identity with them. We are causing the other person to be in identity with us. In Dogen's essay, he wrote about a wise lord and their subjects or whatever. Okay, yes, that does apply to a nation, the idea of a large body of people, but it also applies to a person in their social circle. We don't tire of the people that we're around. We become a wise lord by taking care of the people around us. But who are the people that we take care of? Who are the people that we never get tired of?
Family.
Let me say this. Some family can be in this category of people. Come on, you can do it, everyone. I'm cheering for you. You can do this.
Loved ones.
Loved ones. Yeah, what do we usually, there's another word for that.
Just your friends.
Bing bong. That's it, Chelsea. Friendship. That's the thing. If you cause others to be in identity with you by undoing your own attachment to your own idea of what is right and wrong, and you stop running your stupid mouth, because the first thing that can be controlled is you controlling you. You turn off this. You make friends. It's not complicated, but it's not easy either. To bring like as a teacher in a classroom, I love 5-year-old children. That's my favorite age of human life. Many of you, I'm sure all of you have heard me say that before. As a teacher with little kids, you have a couple different kind of, the kids fall into these archetypal categories. You've got the sort of fly on the wall kid. You've got sort of the artsy spacey kid. You've got the teacher's pets, and you've got stinkers. and you as a teacher, excuse me, you get good. You become very, very quick at knowing, watching for 5 minutes and going, oh yeah, this one's a stinker, or this one's going to be a teacher's pet, or like, and what happens, a good teacher, every good teacher I've ever seen, and something that I applied to my life as a teacher, which made my life much better, was that when I saw a kid that was a stinker, and that could be like teacher's pet flavor stinker, or like you didn't pronounce that word correctly, 5-year-old kid telling you that, you're like, hey kid, envelope and envelope are both correct. I'll have you know. But the just real memories. Those are real memories. But when you see a stinker, the best thing you can do for both you and the kid is to create identity, to cause that child to be in identity with you, which means to put that kid right here, not like in a headlock, but like, you put that person right next to you, Come sit right next to me. Come be with me. We're together. And when they start being a stinker, you go, huh? Well, we're together right now. Come on, sit down. And you just keep including them. And what happens is the stinker quality becomes a delightful quality. You turn it. Is that possible with a hunky guy who got bought up by ICE? And that's a quick try it and see what happens. Maybe.
Let's smoke a bowl and get some tacos. This whole thing will be over in a second.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, brother.
Amen. Yeah. And there's no better answer than creating friendship. We really go ahead. Who is that?
Sorry, I just had a kind of I just read recently an article for some reason read it, the whole thing about Donald Trump and about how he actually in person is like very nice and friendly and diplomatic and like politically like very like deferential. Like a lot of times he and then the blustery confrontational stuff is for is what he says publicly for the press, to create that outrage machine. But like actually what happens and when behind closed doors, he's like congenial and cordial with people, which is interesting. And like kind of pertains to what we're talking about is kind of like the what technology, what the ability to sit in our private to create this outrage when we're not in person with people. But it's much harder to do when you're face to face with someone.
True. And the there might be a relationship between the amount of nefarious a person can perpetrate and the power that person has to create a sort of a bubble between themselves and other people. If you have a lot of money and you can buy a really big house or a private island, you can create quite a well insulated bubble for yourself with the power of your wealth. If you become the president, you get to hide inside a White House. And everyone that works around you is deferential to you. So you've created quite a bubble. It begs great dignity and compassion of a person to live in that office and not become corrupted by the bubble that it creates around you. It's also, if we just think about the physiological thing of, when you stir up an ant's nest, it's kind of fun. Anybody ever poked a fire ant nest? I bet Chelsea has. And how many of you have ever, if you've ever done this, and I'm thinking about Nick and Connor probably haven't lived in the South, and Rob, you haven't lived in the South, but like in Texas, like sometimes the fire ants will build a nest right next to your house, like on your porch. And you're just like, oh, this is dangerous. I can't hang out here. These guys are way too close. You get bit, it hurts. It makes a nasty, itchy thing. And it's never just once. It's like 5, 8 times, 10 times, 20 times. You get bit a lot. So you have to kind of fight with them. You take a sharp stick and you heat up a pot of like slightly old oil, and you poke it down in the hole and you open it up and then you pour the boiling oil in the hole and you just say, ha, gotcha.
Boiling oil, wow.
I guess you can share identity with those ants, Justin. But...
Yeah.
That sounds kind of mean.
Well, fire ants they're not, well, when your house is so old that the fire ants can just come in through the walls because the walls are open.
All right, by that logic, am I allowed to 4 boiling oil on ice agents? Because
Yeah, you could probably want to, right? But that
it would be nice. It would be nice. It would be cathartic.
it'd be cathartic, yeah, in its own way. But the ads were neither here nor there. The challenge really is that one, we can only control ourselves, and by taking up this practice of stillness and silence, and being willing to encounter first and above all ourselves honestly and wholeheartedly, we have an opportunity to cultivate something better in us. And what we do with that has an effect on other people. And so, this sounds kind of preachy, doesn't it? Goodness gracious. Just with great power comes great responsibility. Like 99% of people aren't going to do any kind of meditation thing. It's not that popular. Okay. You're all weird. I'm sorry. But the good news is that what you're doing is, I hope, I trust that you're all kind of really getting a good taste by this point, couple months in, and especially coming together it does more for you than doing it by yourself.
Mhm.
And that's even the idea of having, like, okay, so usually it's 5 or 6 people who gather, right? There might be like 10 or 15 who are always like, yeah, I want to join, and for other reasons, in various circumstances, they can't. But even the people who have never joined, who kind of know that there is this thing open there, and maybe they're another friend of mine from some other chapter in my life, or friends of yours who have heard about this Zen meet thing. Even the idea that such a thing exists has an effect. Even if those people aren't doing the practice, they bump into you and they have this feeling, oh yeah, Rob does this meditation thing. I heard him talking about this or something, it came through the grapevine, and oh, look at Rob. He's kind of glowing. Is it just because he's bald? No, I think he's actually glowing today, like this kind of thing. It has a tangible effect in our lives, not just yours, not just mine, but as it comes in these radiating circles around this thing I like to call community. And we think we live in special times. We don't. This is not new. It's old as dirt. Tribes 80,000 years ago, Homo sapiens and Neanderthals and whatever else was around then, we haven't figured out was around then, they were doing the same thing. Wisdom is tough. The work sucks. Doing zazen, making the time for yourself to just sit still, is tough. Masters of old used to beat their students with shoes. Pcha! Wake up! And now we have a sort of ceremonial thing where we get beat with sticks. So, and I can't really reach all of you. Although if I could, I might, from time to time, I might walk behind you and just like hit you on the back really hard, or yell
I
really.
needed someone to smack me with a stick today quite a few times.
The thing, like,
myself.
if you have a private space, my recommendation for you, you musician people, you can make a lot of noise in your space, and nobody will bat an eye at this. But the rest of you, maybe it's tricky, Griselle and Chelsea and Greg. But just like one time in a totally dead quiet space when no one's around, just go, ah! Just like yell at yourself. really
Oh,
loud.
way ahead of you, brother.
Yeah, but yell at yourself with the intention of waking yourself up.
Mm.
Not, be careful. Not when you're angry or frustrated about something and you're yelling to vent. That's different. I highly discourage you from venting. There's a fine line between how do I say this? What's that English word again? Crap. Pushing down, suppressing. There's a fine line between suppressing your anger and subduing it so that you're not acting on it and it will burn out on its own. It becomes hot coals and it just sort of sits there for a while and you're still, I'm kind of angry. I could get angry right now, but I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm borrowing my zazen into this moment where I'm just letting this be over here burning. It'll cool off. Anger always cools off. That's important. Don't push it away. If you push it away, it just gets hotter and it springs back up and it gets nasty. But at the same time, do not vent, because venting is just feeding your thought. And if your thought has a lot of tanglement with anger, then you just make more anger. So yelling when you're angry is not a good thing to do. In fact, the opposite is the better thing to do, which is nothing. What I'm recommending is to give yourself a shock to wake up. Just really make a big loud noise with your voice that's completely out of character for yourself. Ah! And then feel it in your body. Oh, I'm awake. It takes you out of yourself. It works even better when somebody else does it for you, but you can do it to yourself. It's a little crazy.
I like it.
Okay, correction.
Okay. And with that, any final questions before we go?
I don't believe so.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
And you
Treasure yourselves. Until
Treasure
next
yours.
time.